Hi, in this video, we will cover relevant information question subtype. So let's start. On your official SAT, you're likely to see 2 to 4 questions that look exactly like this. At this point, the writer is considering adding the following sentence. This is the sample sentence. So, should the writer make this addition here? Yes, because it provides a counter argument to a claim made earlier in the paragraph. Yes, because it enforces the passage's point about the importance of something. No, because it undermines the passage's claim about the benefits of something. No, because it blurs the paragraph's focus by introducing a new idea that is not clearly explained. Your job will be to decide if the addition should be made, yes or no, and to determine why the addition should or should not be made. Because. Right. So what are the tips and strategies for this? Number one, 50-50 split. Start by considering only the first part of the choice, that is whether the answer is yes or no. Your instincts will serve you well here. Would you add this sentence if you were the writer? Is the information in the new sentence directly related to the topic of the paragraph? Does it strengthen the sentences around it? If we can choose yes or no before considering the follow-up explanations, which can be complex, we can narrow down our choices and save ourselves more effort. So if you can narrow down the yes or no at this part, then we'll be deciding only between 2 choices out of 4. Number 2, focus on immediate context. The proposed addition will always seem somewhat on topic. It may introduce background information or a viewpoint that is in contrast with the main focus of the passage. But we're not just adding the sentence to the passage, we're adding it at a specific location within the passage. Read the sentences around that specific location. Does the new information belong here? Is it only loosely related to this part of the passage? Does it interrupt another discussion or flow of ideas? Considering these questions will help us decide if the addition should be made or not. Number 3, identify purpose. Some students will find it helpful to put the purpose of the new sentence in their own words by asking the what. What is this sentence doing? If we understand the purpose of the new sentence, we can better determine if the sentence is useful here. In other words, what does the passage need? Does the passage need a sentence to serve that purpose? Does another sentence already serve that purpose? Let's look at a sample question. Right. So the symbol 1 indicates that question 1 references this portion of the passage. The most popular theory of how the moon formed states that a large object struck the earth and sent a large amount of earth's crust into space. This material eventually cooled and formed the moon. Now this is where the sentence starts. Findings reveal that the moon is mainly composed of silicate materials and is deficient in iron. Right. So this is not the sentence where 1 is marked. That is where the scientist is considering to add a sentence. Right. The lack of iron on the moon as compared with Earth suggests that it was formed from outer crust of the Earth, which contains much less iron than its core. So if we just look at this passage, first we are told about a particular theory, and then we are told about findings which reveal that moon most likely was made of earth because the moon is deficient in iron and outer crust of the earth is deficient in iron as well. At this point, the writer is considering adding the following sentence. Evidence to support this theory comes from studies of rock samples recovered from the moon. Should the writer make this addition here? Right. So let's look at the first step, that was the 50-50 split. Right. So should it be a yes or no? So if you look at the sentence, evidence to support this theory comes from studies of rock samples discovered from the moon. It kind of makes sense. If you look at the sentence that follows the Mark 1, it directly starts from findings. We're not really told what the study was about. So adding this sentence obviously adds some values. It tells us that there were studies done on rock samples from the moon, and the findings from those studies told us that moon was probably derived from the Earth. So yes, the answer is yes. This helps us to answer this question, because previously we were thinking about four options and now we're thinking about two options. But which one to choose from here? If you look at A, it's yes because it clarifies the connection between mineral composition and the theory of Earth's formation. Kind of makes sense. Let's look at B. Yes, it reinforces a claim that the writer makes earlier in the paragraph. So this kind of doesn't look that right, because the additional sentence kind of connects the earlier theory and connects it with the evidence, right? It doesn't, the sentence itself doesn't reinforce any claim that was presented earlier, right? So the correct answer here is option A, because it clarifies the connection between mineral composition and the theory. So yeah, that's the correct answer, and that's it for this video. In the next video, we will cover another question subtype.